My name is Zaid. His name is Thomas. He taught me to fight before I knew how to tie my shoes. And because of him, I never learned how to be just a boy. When I was 7, Thomas dragged me into the backyard at dawn. The world was still asleep, but he was already waiting. Shadowbox gloves in hand. "Put these on, Zaid," he said, voice low. His old leather gloves smelled like worn-out promises and sweat. I slid my small hands inside. The gloves dwarfed me, but I felt important. Like I was entering some secret brotherhood he never let me into before. He never smiled when I stumbled. Instead, he pressed a finger to my chest. "Weakness is a sin, Zaid." His breath smelled like coffee and regret. By 8, I had my first black eye. At school, kids asked why I always wore long-sleeve 7 in summer. I said it was my style. I didn't want anyone to know my arm looked like a bruise map. One afternoon, a boy named Tommy cornered me by the lockers. "You got beat up again?" he sneered. I just shrugged. Because the truth, that my dad's idea of love was teaching me to bleed, was too heavy for an 8-year-old to carry. At 10, I learned to swallow tears. When I'd cry in my room, he'd bang on the door. "Are you done?" His voice felt like concrete. I nodded, though he couldn't see. By 11, the yard wasn't enough. He took me to a local Gaima dim, fluorescent-lit place where men grunt like animals. "This is where real boys become men," he'd say. And Aitani, Zada believed him. At 13, I won my first local match. The entire gym roared as I floored my opponent. In the corner, Thomas's face was as cold as marble. No cheer, no proud nod. "Good," he said, without emotion. "But next time, don't let him touch you." I looked around. The other kids were celebrating. I tried to feel something, pride. But all I felt was empty. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. My knuckles throbbed, and my jaw ached from clenching so hard. I wondered if anyone else felt this hollow after winning. Then came winter, when I was 14. I was riding my bike down Maple Drive. Black ice sent me flying. My collarbone snapped like a dry branch. I woke up in the hospital, tubes in my arm. Thomas stood over me, arms crossed, jaw tight. "Good," he said. "Now you know what real pain is." It was the first time I felt fear, not for my dad, but for myself. Because I realized I was proud of being hurt if it meant I could satisfy him. By 15, I had more scars than memories of laughter. My friends would ask why I never hung out. I lied. Too much homework. But really, I was afraid to show any weakness, even to people I loved. I remember my 10th grade science fair. I built a model roller coaster but missed first place. I came home with the ribbon tucked in my backpack. Thomas looked at it, then at me. "You call that a model?" I shrugged, scuffed my shoes, and walked away. Because the heaviest truth I carried was, nothing ever felt like enough. Junior year, I discovered painting in art class. It started as Doodle's little charcoal sketches at lunch. But one day, Miss Reyes caught me shading a sunset and asked, "Why hide this?" I told her, "It's not worth bragging about." She grabbed my shoulders. "Talent like that deserves more than hiding." That night, I stayed up painting. Layers of orange bleeding into purple. A silent scream on canvas. I hid my paints under the bed so Dad wouldn't see. Once, I left a brushstroke on the kitchen counter. He saw it and spat. Art is for the weak. I felt that brushstroke sting like a slap. Still, I painted in secret, sneaking back to my room at midnight. My art became my refuge, the only place I could feel alive without fear of punishment. But hiding a secret can feel like carrying a stone. By 16, I was living two lives. One as Thomas's unbeaten warrior, and one as Zaid, the kid who dreamed of sunsets. At home, Dad's expectations sharpened. He'd pace the living room at night, asking, "What book did you read today? What muscle did you train?" And my throat would go dry, because I knew the answer he wanted. All of them. But I was secretly reading art magazines, saving every cent for paints. One evening, Mom found my sketchbook. She flipped through pages. A portrait of me curled in fetal position, eyes closed, tears streaming into a paint bucket. Her eyes filled with tears. When Dad came home, Mom hid it behind her back. He sensed something, though. "Why are you two acting weird?" Mom swallowed. "Zaid's practicing a new skill." Thomas's gaze cut through her. I felt my heart race, because I knew that secret would explode soon. Oh, senior year, the art school acceptance letter arrived on a Friday. I unfolded the envelope with trembling hands. Cream paper, bold letters. "Congratulations, Zaid. You have been accepted into the fine arts program." I sprinted to the living room, letter in hand. Dad was at the dinner table, smelling like bourbon and regret. "Dad, I got in." He looked at me as if I'd grown a second head. "Art?" he snarled. "You think painting sticks on a wall will feed you?" I opened my mouth, but no words came. Instead, I felt something inside me break. He grabbed me by the collar, voice shaking. "You're throwing away your life." He shoved me against the wall, knuckles bruising my shoulder. I gasped for air, not from his grip, but from realizing I'd never truly been living. My mom's cry echoed from the kitchen. "Let him go." Dad released me. I stumbled, the letter fluttering to the floor. He spat, "If you go to that school, don't bother coming back." I didn't hesitate. Backpack on my shoulders, I walked out into a November wind, the cold slicing through the holes in my shoes. Every step felt like shedding skin, painful but necessary. In the darkness, I heard Dad's voice. "You'll regret this." But I felt only relief, because relief had become stronger than fear. Now, I'm 21, living in a cramped art studio in the city. My hands are stained with paint, not blood. I wake up to the hum of traffic, instead of Dad's voice drilling into my skull. Every morning, I look at my reflection, bruises replaced by confidence lines, and I ask myself, who am I without his fists guiding me? I spend hours painting, swirling colors that speak what words can't. Sometimes, late at night, stress curls around my chest. The echo of Dad's words, "Weakness is a sin." I close my eyes and remember my mother's face that night, when she cradled me on her lap, whispering, "It's okay to be soft, baby." Her words are a lifeline I reach for when doubt crashes in. Some days, I pick up the phone and dial Dad's number, but hang up before he answers, because some wounds aren't ready to close. I've learned that real strength isn't measured by bruises or broken bones. It's measured by how gently you treat your own heart. And I wonder, if Thomas could see me now, painting my broken pieces into something beautiful, would he recognize his son? Because I'm still learning how to be my own ally. So I ask you and myself, when the person who's supposed to protect you teaches you that everything you feel is weakness, how do you learn to trust your own strength? Because sometimes the fiercest battle is the one inside your own skin. And that is where real warriors are born. Have you ever felt crushed by a parent's expectations? Share your story below. No judgment, just honesty. Let's learn how to stand tall on our own terms.